that feeling of sort of community. This is just a different picture of the same thing. But it is possible to, again, map landforms almost exactly if you have enough virtual space, or if you pick a small enough environment, or at least get fairly close so that the scale and the sort of the look and the feel is close enough to the real environment that you get some sense, not necessarily exactly, but you get some sense of what that environment looks like. And if you think about it from a development side, sort of a point of view, if you're a land developer and you're building something that requires the removal of a particular feature, back it up. No, that's what it is. Okay. If you wanted to actually get a sense for an actual architectural model, you wanted to be able to get in, you wanted to see what the land looks like. If you needed to remove some trees, I'm not sure why it's not picking up my script. That's just a clear picture. This is a different environment, actually. That picture is from a Unity 3D build, and that is an actual architectural model. That is a Unity import of a Revit 3D CAD, sort of fairly simple, but this is an architect who does a lot of work in virtual spaces, and he's been exploring other platforms outside of sort of the typical ones, and Unity 3D is one that is becoming fairly popular. But again, you can get to the point where you can drop into this space with other people and sort of walk around, tour around, take a look at the landform, take a look at the actual architectural structures, walk through them, but more importantly, you can talk as you're doing it. You can have voice, you can have a speaker mounted to a headset. You can either use the built-in voice tools that are in most 3D immersive environments. You could also use an external Skype type system if you needed to. But to be able to communicate and talk while you're in there, and also to be able to actually sometimes physically change things, like let's see what it looks like with that hill gone, flatten that hill, or remove those trees. What does it look like? How does the environment change? Or change the color of the steps to purple or green or whatever. You can do that, and then you can get feedback immediately from the people that are there. And it doesn't take very long because you're all in the same environment, you're all together, and you can sort of be working through it. And small projects can be done like that. Larger projects also. I'm not sure why it's... Okay, this is a bit bigger project. This is an actual hospital, the Palomar West Hospital, a $900 million project that was completely prototyped in Second Life. From the ground up, basically, all of the sort of the landscaping features, the interior of the building was done at, not every complete single stage was modeled in detail, but enough against that people could get a sort of a scope and a feel for what this looks like on the outside and it looks like on the inside as well. This was sponsored in part by Cisco, I believe. They, of course, wanted to demonstrate some of their communication integrated sort of technologies that work through the hospital. So there's also other things built in. It's not just the structure and the physical space, but there's also scripted environments. So you can go in, you walk through. I think you were issued a hospital pass, actually, and as you walk through the hospital build, you interacted with different things as if you were either a patient or if you were on staff or whatever. It would allow you access into certain areas. So you can start to do that as well with environments that allow that sort of scriptability to be added to them. And this is going to become a little bit. This is the inside of that same hospital. Just again, gives you a feel for the space, not necessarily down to immense detail right now. But again, that's coming as the technologies improve, as they become richer, and the technology improves. You're going to start to see this level of detail. Did you have a quick question?
Quick one.
Yeah.
In Google SketchUp, if you're modeling for Google Earth, you say don't use too many polygons, use texture maps, whatever.
Yeah.
So is that the same kind of thing?
Exactly. Yeah.
So keep it simple.
And in fact, eventually, we're going to start to see a lot of, again, even crossover with some of the 3D modeling tools, like SketchUp. You can't into Second Life yet, but in some other environments, you can import SketchUp models, or you can import, like I mentioned earlier, some CAD programs can export models that certain immersive environments can pick up and bring in. But yeah, you do still have to be careful with the sort of the quality of the objects. If you bring in really, really high detailed, I mean, it doesn't work yet. And you would have to have very, very fast real-time systems, to do that. And it is getting there, but again, I think we're a little ways away from that for typical usage of models. And there are actually networks of people. This is the ARCH network. They actually meet quite regularly in different immersive environments, but they're all actual architects. They all hold architectural degrees from somewhere, and they build in real life, but they've also got a group and some systems that they have started to utilize within virtual worlds, where they meet, they get together, they brainstorm, they build, they share buildings, they share models, and they bid on, right now they do a lot of work for these, I think it's Architecture for Humanity, projects like that, where humanitarian projects around the globe are looking for input from real architects. And this allows them to sort of meet a lot of people very quickly, get together, share ideas, and then some of these design competitions, they've actually made some major headway getting all the way through. I think there's a bridge project right now that they won. This little group actually won the contract to sort of put together that particular bridge. So they're doing real work inside virtual spaces. And if you do want to get into the things that are not real, they're not possible in real life, I guess. This is a mathematical model. It's actually, I don't even want to get into it because I don't know enough about it to do it justice, but it's a very complicated 8-dimensional polytope that's been projected down several times into 3D space. And every point, every vertex, and every edge, you can go in and walk around and you can look at it from above, from below, from inside. You can project it again further down onto the ground if you need to. But you can also script it to turn different things off. Like you want to see all these vertices, you want to see only these edges, you want to see these faces. You can actually work with structures that are not necessarily physical buildings, but they could be mathematical models, or they could be biological models. They could be information structures, perhaps, or it could be the moon or Mars that you're modeling and visiting and actually taking a look at. A second use case that is probably very common, again, one of the most common initially for, say, enterprises, businesses that start to explore immersive environments, is just building sort of another type of information space, an interactive, maybe really rich if you do it properly. A place, again, where you can have information displayed in a variety of different ways. Now, initially, a lot of people, when they move into an immersive environment, it happened in Second Life a few years ago, when a lot of the big companies sort of moved in, sort of on the hype. There's a lot of hype around Second Life, and everybody moved in, and they set up big advertising sort of campaigns and big things that were flashy, and a lot of